Alright, so we're back to sort of a flipped classroom just for today. We're going to learn products and quotients of rational expressions. So yesterday we learned how to simplify rational expressions. Today we're going to be multiplying and dividing those crazy big fractions. So hopefully you turned in your 5.4 homework. If you haven't done that already, go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to grade that tonight so I can see how we did, and then you're going to learn how to multiply and divide those crazy fractions we worked with yesterday in today's notes. We have 5 examples. Hunker down. Here we go. Here's example number 1. We have b to the third on top. On the bottom is xy times this other fraction, 2x squared y, and on the bottom 4ab. So we treat this like we're multiplying fractions. So like, for example, if you had 3 over 6 times 2 over 9, you would cancel diagonally first. This would become a 1, this would become a 3. Over here, that would become a 1, that would become a 3, and then you multiply straight across. That's basically what we're doing today, just our fractions are going to look a little different. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is see if I can cancel anything diagonally. So I see up here I have 3 b's and I have a b down here. So this has 1 b. I can take him away. And this is going to change to be b squared. I took 1 out of both of them. I cross-canceled. This guy has an x and a y. This guy has 2 x's, so I'm going to get rid of one of them, and a y. So you can cross-cancel. You can also cancel up and down. So this guy has a 2. So this 4 is going to become a 2. I divided them both by 2. And I'm just going to multiply straight across. B squared and x are on top. And on the bottom all I have left is a 2 and an a. And that is my simplified rational expression. So we're going to cross-cancel and then multiply straight across. This guy right here is a teeny bit different because before we can just start cross-canceling, I need to factor or pull out the greatest common factor, things like that. So the top, I see a to the third minus 6a squared. On the bottom is a squared plus 2a minus 3. And then the second fraction, a squared minus 2a plus 1, and on the bottom is a to the third. So on the very first one, I'm going to take out a greatest common factor of a squared, which leaves me a minus 6. On the bottom, we can factor this. I'm going to go ahead and just do it for you. It's a plus 3 and a minus 1. Okay? And then on my other one, if you went ahead and factored that, it would be a minus 1 and a minus 1. On the bottom is a to the third. Okay, so now we can start looking to see if we can cross-cancel anything. I see this has an a minus 1. This also has an a minus 1, so those can cancel each other. This is an a squared, and this is an a to the third, which means there's still this a left. There's nothing else I can cancel because everything else is connected with a plus or a minus sign, and it's not the exact same thing. So your final answer is going to be on top we have a minus 6 and a minus 1. And on the bottom we have that a and a plus 3. And that is your final answer for this problem. So now we're switching it up, and this time it says that we are going to be dividing. So the first thing I want to do is rewrite a couple things before we start factoring. Because when you're dividing, you're really multiplying by the reciprocal. So the first thing I want to do is take my top, the top of my first fraction. I'm going to pull a negative out of it because I hate when my x squared is negative and also written second. So we have negative, and then my x squared becomes positive, and that 1 becomes negative. On the bottom, we have 3x plus 4. I'm going to change this to a times sign, and then I'm going to flip everything. So 9x squared, that's an x, plus 24x plus 16 is now on top, and x squared plus x minus 2 is now on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and factor everything that I have. The top of this first fraction still has a negative, and hopefully you recognize this is a difference of two squares. So we have x minus 1 and x plus 1. On the bottom, I can't do anything to that. It's still just 3x plus 4. There's no GCF, no nothing. Over here, when you factor that, again, I'm just going to do it for you. It's actually 3x plus 4 and 3x plus 4. And then on the bottom, when you factor that, you get x plus 2 and x minus 1. Now we have all of our pieces, we can start crossing stuff out. So I have an x minus 1 down here, and I have an x minus 1 up here. I have a 3x plus 4 down here, and I have a 3x plus 4 up here. Nothing else can get canceled out, so your final answer would be, on top we have negative, and then our x plus 1. And then we also still have a 3x plus 4. And on the bottom, all we're left with is x plus 2. Ta-da! 2 more examples. Oh, buddy. Okay. So this top fraction, this guy's all on top, is being divided by this bottom fraction down here. So I'm going to rewrite that so you guys can see exactly what's happening. So we have the top fraction, which is y squared minus 5py plus 6y squared. And on the bottom, y plus 2p. And this is being divided by y squared minus 4p squared. Well, I want to change it to a multiplication problem because we're really multiplying by the reciprocal, which means you would actually write it. So instead of divide, we're going to be multiplying. And instead of this guy being on top, y squared minus 4p squared, he's actually going to be on the bottom. And my 1's going to go on top because I'm multiplying by the reciprocal. So you flip it. So now we're going to factor this guy. P.S. This is supposed to be a p squared. Of course I typed it wrong. Okay, now we're ready. The top of this fraction is going to become, let's see here, y minus 2p. Yep. And y minus 3p. On the bottom, we have y plus 2p. We're multiplying this by 1. And this guy down here is a difference of two squares. Y plus 2p, and we have y minus 2p. Now we can do our cross-canceling fanciness. This guy's gone. This guy's gone. That's really all that I can make disappear. So left on top we have y minus 3p. And on the bottom I have 2 y plus 2p's. So I'm going to go ahead and write y plus 2p squared. And there she is. Final answer. And last but not least, we have this guy. So sometimes you're going to be multiplying and dividing 3 pieces together. So I want to rewrite this so that my very last fraction, instead of being divided by rs divided by t, we're going to go ahead and flip the fraction. So we have r to the 4th s all over t times t to the 3rd all over r squared s. Oh, this one's going to be fun. So much is going to cancel. And then this guy flips, so I'm left with a t on top now, and then rs is on the bottom. So let's go ahead and cross cancel. I'm going to focus on these two fractions first, and then we'll multiply it by the last one. So when we're cross canceling, let's see, this S can disappear with this S right here. And then we have one T here, so this is going to become two T's now. And then I have two R's down here, and I had four here, so that's going to become two R's now. I'm going to go ahead and multiply across so I can see what my new stuff is. I have R squared, T squared. On the bottom we just have a 1 times T over RS. So now we're going to cross cancel one more time. I have this R, which is going to give me one R on top, and that's really all that I can cancel. So my final answer, on top we have an R, and we actually have three T's, so it's T to the third. And on the bottom, all we're left with is that lovely S. Okay, we had a lot of examples. Hopefully things kind of made sense. Here is your homework, page 234, numbers 2 through 24 even. Good luck. Hopefully things go well, and we will go over this in class tomorrow.